AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The tradition continues for the 103rd season at Douglas Fudge. Take advantage of great Douglas specials. Buy 2 pounds of famous Douglas Fudge, get 1 free. Or buy 2 pounds of Douglas Original Taffy, get 1 free. Douglas Candies on the boardwalk at Wildwood Avenue and now in Stone Harbor on Facebook, Twitter, and online at douglascandies.com.
Our own recipe and we're sure proud of we make the candy we sell, so it's easy to tell the great taste of Douglas Fudge.
This is why we're number one for sports in South Jersey.
The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. They play the second easiest schedule. And oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts is good.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Thursday edition of Game Night, 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. And tonight, it's official. Football is back. Yeah, it's only preseason football, but I'm excited. I can't wait. I understand half the guys who play tonight won't even play in the NFL this year, but I don't care. You know why? Because it's football. It's NFL football. I understand we had the USFL this year, but honestly, the USFL didn't do too much for me, and frankly, they were on a lot of nights I was watching other things. So, in a world where there's only baseball on right now, I'm still watching the Phillies #1 tonight, but that NFL game is going to be right next to me. Watching that game tonight. Talk more NFL. Reid Fowler from DraftKings will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now here on 97.3 ESPN. We got Phillies and Eagles talk to get into this hour, and as always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973 on the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Let's get to the Eagles first, because if you go by what everyone is reporting, the reality is that Jalen Reagor has made a massive step forward from last year to this year. Now, if you want to say, well, he made a big step forward because he's actually in shape coming into camp this year, he wasn't last year. Look, I'll give you that. I'm not going to dispute that one bit. Reagor has been an abject disappointment. And for many Eagle fans, he is viewed as realistically, arguably not the biggest, one of the biggest disappointments of all time. So when you think about it, if Jalen Reagor is been so bad, anything better than what he's been is going to be good, right? Like let's not, read too much into it. And I know some people are trying to read too much into it, so I'm trying to be a realist here. But is it maybe time to take advantage of that? How many times have you looked around and you thought, why doesn't a team go out and get better players? And I'm having that moment right now with 3 teams. Look around the NFL. Van Jefferson with the Rams, injured. Tim Patrick, done for the year in Denver. James Washington, done 6-10 weeks with the Cowboys. You're telling me any of those 3 teams don't need help at receiver? Look, the Rams need depth. They got top tier guys in Kupp and Allen Robinson, but they need more depth behind those guys. And without Van Jefferson, that depth is taking a major hit. The Cowboys did not replace Amari Cooper, did not replace Cedric Wilson, and James Washington was basically supposed to be that replacement. And with Gallup coming off a serious injury, it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Dalton Schultz, and you're hoping that Jalen Colbert actually steps up the way you want him to. And there's no guarantee he will. You know, rookies are a coin flip when it comes to the NFL. Some guys do great their rookie year, some guys not so much. They need more time for development and other things. So I look around at, I mentioned the Broncos, Patrick was a huge part of the offense last year, and you're taking, if they're not their best receiver, their second best receiver off the field in Denver with him being out for the year. Why don't any of those teams call the Eagles about Jalen Reagor? It's probably the same reason that they have not signed Emmanuel Sanders or T.Y. Hilton or anyone like that. Because there's more questions than answers with some of these guys. And that's one of the things that gets back to, as I talked about earlier this week when I was filling in for Mike Gill in the Sports Bash, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. The Angels were willing to trade for Mickey Moniak. If you ask the Angels, maybe they think of Mickey Moniak more highly than the Phillies do. Or maybe they're delusional. Logan O'Hoppe is a very interesting name because for a lot of Philly fans, they said, you traded one of our top prospects. But if you go by the report in The Athletic, according to the people who cover baseball for The Athletic, they were saying that there were teams around baseball that did not value Logan O'Hoppe in the same way that the Phillies did. They didn't view him as high of a prospect. So it's not that O'Hoppe is bad, and it's not that Moniak is great. It's that people have different perceptions of the same people. But what we're seeing with these wide receivers is hard for me to decipher a little bit. Because if you lose the players that those three teams did, Van Jefferson was supposed to be their number 3 receiver. And coming out of college, he was considered one of the best route runners in all of college, Van Jefferson. Tim Patrick has been one of the better receivers in Denver. He was expected to be one of Russell Wilson's top targets this year. James Washington was supposed to fill the void between Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson with both of their losses. These three teams have not gone out of the way to replace them. Now, look, I get it. You want to see what you have in reserve before you make any wild decision. But let's be realistic. Is there really anybody on the Rams, Broncos, or Cowboys rosters who you look at after their top players and you're like, you know what? They're so deep, man. They got this guy, this guy, this guy. You really can't do that. Back to our conversation from yesterday. And I understand that, some people didn't like what I said, but look, it's not about the diehard fan, okay? If you're a Cowboys fan, you could probably recite their entire roster. But for the regular football fan, the football fan that probably forgot there was a Hall of Fame game tonight, the regular football fan that plays fantasy football and only roots for their team and doesn't watch the entire league, the average football fan doesn't know who some of these people are. So if you're a team like the Cowboys, why not trade for a Jalen Reagor? Why not sign a T.Y. Hilton or an Emmanuel Sanders? Is it really that much about perception becoming reality? I'm sorry, Cowboy fan, but Tyler Freifogel was a better college player than he'll be an NFL player. Noah Brown could barely break the lineup at Ohio State. He was not some elite receiver at Ohio State. There's a reason why Jalen Tolbert went to South Alabama and not actual Alabama. Why he wasn't screaming Roll Tide each week. So why is it that these teams don't sign these people? It may very well just be beauty in the eye of the beholder. It may be that the Cowboys value their guys more than other people do. And maybe they don't value as much what these other players have to offer. Whether it is Emmanuel Sanders, who's a very good NFL receiver, it's been a very good NFL receiver in his career. Whether it is T.Y. Hilton, but guys like T.Y. Hilton have an injury history. Guys like Jalen Reagor have been an abject failure and disappointment in Philadelphia. Emmanuel Sanders is 35 years old now? For a team like the Cowboys, maybe they don't value that. I think that's where some of these conversations come from. Some of these conversations is about how do you value who's out there? What is more important? Is it experience or is it talent? Is it knowing the offense or is it explosive plays? There's so many variables to go into who makes football team or not. And for me, I look at Jalen Reagor and how, quote unquote, well he's performing at training camp, as they say. And my first reaction is, number one, Zach Pascal's been out with food poisoning. So, of course, he's going to have more reps at practice. So that's why he's on the field so much. And number two, is it really that hard to be better when you were so bad coming in last year? I mean, the dude literally came in out of shape because a friend of his from high school died. And he basically, was in a bad place for 2 weeks. So you're already coming back into camp mentally and physically better than you were before. Doesn't mean he's going to make the team. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have value either. And I'm just saying, when you look at these other teams, like the Cowboys, like the Rams, and like the Broncos, what harm would there be for them trading for Jalen Reagor? That's all I'm saying. Josh Hennig here on the Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, power by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Over on the text board, someone is very upset with me. Really, really upset. Dallas is better than the Eagles. Can't dispute it. Dallas losing James Washington means nothing. He might not have even made the team. Well, a couple things. First of all, anonymous Cowboys fan who's texting in at 609-403-0973. Dallas is better than the Eagles. Can't dispute it, but yet I can. Who has the better offensive line? Eagles or Cowboys? It's the Eagles. In fact, Dallas's offensive line has a lot of questions about injury issues, about depth. We saw what happened last year. When the Cowboys went down with injuries, they didn't have the necessary depth to back that up, and it hurt their offense. You're paying all this money to Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. You should give them a better offensive line. Who's got the better wide receiver group? I would argue it's the Eagles. Aside from CeeDee Lamb, the rest of the Cowboys receiver group is nondescript. If you're telling me that you are counting on Jalen Tolbert and Ty Freifogel and Noah Brown to step up, then you must like gambling. You must like going to Atlantic City and rolling the dice, because I don't feel that good about it. You had Amari Cooper, who was incredibly productive. You decided you couldn't pay him, so you got rid of him. Cedric Wilson went to the Dolphins. You brought in James Washington, who, by the way, was taking reps with the first team. So don't tell me he might not have made the team. A guy doesn't take reps with the first team if he doesn't have a chance of making a team. That's silliness. I would argue the Eagles, with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, then Zach Pascal, then Quez Watkins, have a better four than Dallas does right now. When Amari Cooper was in Dallas, Dallas far and away had the better wide receiver group. Dallas far and away. And I think we underrate Amari Cooper. We'll ask Reid Fowler about this on the other side from DraftKings. I think the loss of Amari Cooper is going to be very damaging for the Cowboys offense. I'm not saying Dak Prescott still won't be the best quarterback in the division, but I don't know if this Cowboys offense is going to be as undisputed, top shelf elite as it's been in the past. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
On its way, gone! A 3-run homer for Pete Alonso.
The fight for the top of the National League East takes center stage this weekend at Citi Field when Pete Alonso and the New York Mets face Austin Riley and the Atlanta Braves.
Way back there, gone! Austin Riley goes deep.
The Mets and Braves. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey sports leader.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 + 0 = 1 heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
They say to never mess with the classics, but Panera did just that and more with our new Chef's Chicken Sandwiches. By using pan-seared chicken, our secret garlic aioli recipe, Parmesan crisps, and pickle chips, all on a buttery brioche roll. Because if no one messed with the classics, you never have a chicken sandwich this good. New Chef's Chicken Sandwiches from Panera. Only $1 delivery fee when you order on our app. Restrictions apply. For details, visit PaneraBread.com/delivery info.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year, you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and build that papier-mâché volcano.
I am not cleaning this up.
Ooh, yeah, I meant the kids. Staples will help them move forward. Right now, Crayola 24-count crayons and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each, and 1-inch binders are only $1.99. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in store only, limit 30.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
When flying insects show up in your home, how do you get rid of them? Hopelessly clapping every single one? Aimlessly swatting back and forth? Hanging fly strips in your living room? Ew, ew, ew. Instead, try Zevo Traps. Zevo uses light, not odor or chemical insecticides, to attract and trap bugs, working continuously so you don't have to. Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly. Now at a store near you.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Russell Peters, Act Your Age World Tour, Saturday, August 20th, 8 p.m. Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort.
Vegans are the ISIS of the vegetarian world.
Russell Peters.
No, that's your friend you're about to eat. All right, FaceTime a cow if you're such good friends. I want to see pictures of you and a chicken at a bar.
On sale now at theoceanac.com. Russell Peters, live.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We're going to bring in Reid Fowler from DraftKings, not just because, well, we got the first NFL game of the season tonight. You can hear it right here on 97.3 ESPN, by the way. I know it's a preseason game, but I know I'll be watching. I know Reid will be watching. But we also got to bring Reid in because we got to get an outsider's perspective, a non-so-called biased perspective when we have this conversation. Because I know what's going on now. There are people out there who are saying, Josh, you're only saying these things to appease the Eagle fans out there. Well, we'll ask Reid Fowler some of the same things here on 97.3 ESPN. Reid, welcome back. How excited for you for football tonight?
Very excited, Josh. Thanks for having me. As a lifelong Raiders fan, back to the days of Jeff Hostetler, Tim Brown. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. But, you temper expectations. This is the Hall of Fame game. You can still bet on it. You can still put some money on it. But
I mean, I'm just still trying to work my head around. You put Jeff Hostetler and Tim Brown in the same sentence there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since I've donned the silver and black, Josh. And I can, we can probably lament. We both of us can share a beverage on Eagles and Raiders disappointments. But I think I might take the cake with what's happened the last 2.5 decades for my team.
I think you definitely own that. I will say, though, that if you ask some of our listeners, they think I might have an infatuation with drinking, but that's another conversation for another day. So let me loop you into this conversation. Yeah. So one of my positions on the NFC East has been, I think Dallas takes a step back this year because I think that losing Amari Cooper is bigger than the Cowboy fan wants to admit. The Cowboy fans are all on my case. The Cowboys, they got this guy, they got that guy. And I'm like, time out. You lost Amari Cooper and you didn't sufficiently replace him. Gallup's coming off a serious injury. You didn't fix the issues on the offensive line. I'm not saying the Cowboys stink. I'm just saying that you didn't replace one of the most productive receivers in the franchise of the last 20 years.
Yeah, and what you did was get James Washington in the building. But on PFF, you talk about him, out of 115 wide receivers that they rank, he was 111th. Amari Cooper, I would argue, is one of the purest route runners. Like, he was a Raider to begin with. And so I watched him fairly closely throughout his entire career. And when the guy is healthy, man, you start to see what he does to opposing quarterbacks. And to your point, Josh, he's not just the guy who produced, literally, like he gave you numbers and touchdowns and was that safety blanket for Dak Prescott. He allowed the CeeDee Lamb to get singled. He allowed, the Dalton Schultz to get singled. He allowed Ezekiel Elliott to not necessarily get 8 in the box. So it's not just the player in terms of his raw production. It's what happens to the entire offense when you remove that, especially from quarterback to wide receiver, in that if things are breaking down, who am I going to, right? Jason Witten was that guy for Romo for the Cowboys for a long time. That was Amari Cooper for Dak Prescott.
Do you think that the Cowboys, what is a fair expectation for them? Let's put it that way, because I think that they definitely did one thing well. I thought they got some more depth on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't really replace Randy Gregory leaving, though, but you could still be productive without him. So when you look at the Cowboys this year and the way it feels like every team in the NFC East got better on some tier. So what is a fair expectation for Dallas?
Well, if you ask Dallas fans, it's Super Bowl or bust. Right? Like that's what they want. That's what they need. Look, Super Bowl is going to be in Arizona. They want a trip. They all want to go to Scottsdale. I'm sure a lot of them have already booked their tickets. That's what Cowboys fans do, is do that. But you take a look, like you mentioned, I would argue the Giants, right, bringing in Brian Dabble, and just that type of organizational move and what that does to the culture of that organization. It's not just, again, putting in a coach, but putting in a successful coach who knows how to win, who knows how to get close to that game, or pretty much fly close to the sun, so to speak. And you have a lot of young players on the Giants team that looks like they're going to improve, right? The Commanders, not so much, right? You can probably say that there was a gray cloud hanging over them. And the Eagles have made a lot of moves we saw on draft day. The Cowboys, I think the expectation is they better go to the Super Bowl, right? And they better make it to the playoffs, and they better win more than one game. But look at their schedule, Josh. You got Tampa Bay week 1. Then you have Cincinnati, then the Giants, and then week 5 you have the Rams, then you got the Eagles in week 6. That's a tough opening 6 games for the Cowboys. They started off strong last year. But again, right, you got to take a look, like you mentioned. The biggest thing that they're going to have issues with is that offensive line. Can you keep Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard, who's going to be a thing this year? Can they keep them healthy? And that's going to be the biggest issue for the Cowboys. And like you talked about, Amari Cooper, that's going to be a big hurt.
So when over on DraftKings Sportsbook right now, Cowboys are at a flat 10. They don't even have the hook on them right now. So is that a number that you say could be over, could be under, or is that just a straight up Reid Fowler stays away from that number?
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that. Just because we talk about, like, you can push with the, on the flat number, no hook, that's fine. But again, how many avenues do they have to win? I would argue, right, and this is a high number. I know it's a different division. You take a look at the 49ers. And the 49ers, it's kind of moved a little bit, especially when Jimmy Garoppolo was, when Shanahan said that Garoppolo's out and this is Trey Lance's team. That's now at 10 on DK Sportsbook at plus 100. They have so many different outs to win now with Trey Lance, right? The idea that the Cowboys need to win the way they set up that team currently, which is on offense. They, like you talked about, they made some moves on defense. Dan Quinn is going to be that guy, to basically bring them home. But, I just rather stay away, because we all know that division, it is a crapshoot on who's going to play well and who's going to jockey for position. So I'm not as bullish on the Cowboys as I am other teams that have double-digit regular win season totals outside of someone like the 49ers, who have multiple ways to potentially win games.
So let's get to the Eagles then. I think, as you mentioned earlier, the Eagles, the additions that they made this offseason change how you look at them. Like, they were a 9-win team, but let's be realistic. They got a little lucky down the stretch. I mean, they had some, pretty easy quarterbacks to beat around with. Mike Glennon, for example, Garrett Gilbert, guys who probably would be starting in the XFL if it started tomorrow, So this year, they're a better roster. So when they're sitting at 9.5, is it fair to say that they should hit over 9.5, considering the additions they made?
Yeah, I mean, can you double up Washington? And I would argue, that defense is still strong, even though they have a lot of stuff that's happening outside of football that, could have a gray cloud over that entire organization. People getting asked the same question over and over again, players getting asked that. Does that start to, kind of come into the locker room, so to speak. Carson Wentz is in a new offense, right? How is he going to learn? We saw what he did with the new offense, with a much better offense in Indianapolis than he has currently with Washington. Nothing against Antonio Gibson, but that's a big difference, right? At the running back position, and you take a look at what he had just as a whole offensively. Carson Wentz coming into this system with Washington, I don't really trust. And so, you're gonna have to double up the Commanders. You're gonna have to, basically split with the other two teams. But again, you have AJ Brown, who has a good relationship with a guy like Jalen Hurts. You have Miles Sanders, and you have that stable of running backs. And again, you have a strong defense. You didn't really move a ton of pieces on defense. And the big question mark too, which I'm pretty excited to see how this happens this year for the Eagles, is Quez Watkins. You saw what he did last year on this team and how he produced last year. He has an opportunity to take that massive leap forward for this offense. And so I'm really excited to see Quez Watkins and how he fits. I talked about it earlier with the 49ers, but you see that the Eagles have multiple ways to win games. And that's what I look at when I look at regular season win totals is, do you have multiple avenues to and out? It's kind of like how I bet with golf, right? Do you have multiple ways to score? Do you have multiple ways to make birdie? Can you make it around the green? Can you do this and that? Same with football. Can they win on defense? Yes. Can they win with their quarterbacks, or can they win in one-on-one situations? Absolutely. I think Quez Watkins is that biggest X factor this season.
Reid Fowler from DraftKings joining us here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank. A Seattle City football today. Coverage begins at 7:30 here. The Hall of Fame game on 97.3 ESPN. 2 wide receivers have gone down in recent days. Tim Patrick with Denver, Van Jefferson with the Rams. Which of those two concerns you more? Because we know Van Jefferson was supposed to have an expanded role this year, they said. They were counting on him for that role. And then Patrick has arguably been the most consistent receiver in Denver for the last couple of years, and now he's done for the year with Russell Wilson in town.
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Because then you start to say, okay, well, who's the quarterback under center? Can they help that team win? And the answer is yes, right? It's Matt Stafford, who's dealing with some stuff preseason, but he always does in the offseason. And Russell Wilson, again, new offense, but it's Russell Wilson, right? So, I'd argue that Van Jefferson is a bigger hurt to that offense, especially when you have a new wide receiver, right, in Allen Robinson, and OBJ is not going to be healthy. So who's that third guy that's going to pick up the slack? Do they go more with the running backs and Cam Akers, Darren Henderson? Do they deploy more, tight end, double tight end sets? We just don't know, but that's a big miss because Van Jefferson, you take a look at what he did last year, he was out there 75, 80% of the offensive snaps, and then targets, right? Not necessarily just for fantasy, but just efficiency on offense. He was getting targeted quite a bit, and he was that guy who stretched the field. So if he's not out there, right, and that third receiver there's a big delta between Van Jefferson and whoever that next third receiver is, that's going to be massive, right? That's going to be massive for a team that is basically going to have a target on its back for the entire year. But Allen Robinson comes in. You want to see how that progresses, and Cooper Kupp is still there, right? So maybe that just means Kupp's going to get 20 targets a game instead of 15.
I know it's only Thursday, August 4th, but I'm honestly surprised that none of the 3 teams had receivers go down, whether it is the Cowboys, whether it is the Rams, whether it is the Broncos. None of them have brought anybody in yet. None of them have tried to trade for somebody or sign a free agent. And I understand, I got T.Y. Hilton, he's got a million injuries in his background. Emmanuel Sanders is 35 years old. But even a guy like Jalen Reagor is getting a stupid amount of pub from the Eagles media over here. And it's you would think someone might be you know what? Let's give Reagor a shot. It's the preseason. You know what I mean? I'm just surprised none of those 3 teams that have receivers go down have added anybody yet.
Yeah, and it's kind of either a testament to their farm system or to how they recruit, right? That maybe we don't need a depreciating asset, so to speak, right? We already have the book on the Jalen Reagors, the T.Y. Hiltons of the world, the Emmanuel Sanders, and we don't necessarily need that. And if you take a look at all of those teams, right, whether it be the Rams and the teams that the Broncos, that they don't necessarily I would argue that if it was a Cooper Kupp, then you really got to start to scramble, right? You got to start to scramble. But if it's Tim Patrick, and I get he's a cornerstone of that offense, but he's not Courtland Sutton. When Courtland Sutton went down, then you're like, okay, we got to completely change the identity of our offense, especially with our alpha going down. If that's the case, then yeah, then you start to see these moves being made, maybe some trades, so on and so forth, or maybe some acquisitions coming in fairly quickly. But when you talk about someone like Van Jefferson and those players, even though we like them, right, in our industry, the tertiary guys, especially for DFS or for sports betting, I don't necessarily think at this stage, bringing someone in too to the offense, a lot of people don't realize this, and they might think they do, but they don't. You can't just implement a receiver or any player into an offense and then it clicks right away. I know there's an argument like we'll get him in sooner so we can learn the playbook, but they're probably looking at their guys and saying, let's get this practice squad guy who knows the playbook left, right, and center, get him in and see if he can perform.
A couple other questions around the NFL I want to ask you. You mentioned the Raiders earlier. I mean, how do we even handicap the AFC West? I mean, like, I love what the Raiders did this offseason. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not just because you're on the air. I love Devontae Adams. I love the fact that they turned to Abrams and said, we brought in competition for you in the secondary with Harmon. Like, I like the mentality that they did.
Yeah.
But they're still in the same division with Justin Herbert. They're still in the same division with Patrick Mahomes. And Tyreek Hill can blow as much smoke as he wants. Pat Mahomes is still Pat Mahomes. He's better than Tua. And then you got Russell Wilson in Denver. And Russell Wilson, that guy pulls, wins out of defeat almost every week, it seems like, in the NFL.
Yeah, it's really hard. You would argue that the most value is on a team like the Raiders, right, from a betting perspective, because there really isn't a lot of, like, I think the expectation or the sentiment is exactly what you're expressing, Josh, is that we just don't know, right? We don't know. Injuries can definitely play a part, right, for all teams, all 32. But you take a look at with the Chargers and the Chiefs especially, right? Injuries could plague those teams and the Chiefs, right? Like they're losing a massive piece. I talk about Tyreek Hill. That's a field stretcher. They also lost Marcus Robinson, who's on the Raiders, who was another field stretcher, right? And look, they have guys in there like Miko Hardman, but still, right? It's not Tyreek Hill. I would argue that if you're looking to handicap that division, it's probably best that you either go with Denver, just because you take a look at what they're doing and a guy like Russell Wilson and how the market is reacting to Denver futures, or just stay away and just enjoy the ride, right? Because as much as it pains me to say, that defense in Denver is probably the deciding factor. All of these teams are going to be able to score, but which defenses can mitigate the 30-plus games and keep it at low 20s? That's Denver's offense. They're fantastic. Patrick Surtain II is going to be one of the most exciting players to watch this season, maybe up for Defensive Player of the Year. Really like it quite a bit. Although I love Chandler Jones. I love what they did on defense with the Raiders, like you're talking about. That Denver defense, if I'm putting my impartial hat on, is one of the best in the NFL right now.
Or maybe you just throw 20 on all four of them and just see what happens. Yeah, I mean,
just blind, like you throw, like have a team in like 4 quadrants on the dartboard, and just close your eyes and throw it.
I mean, I've literally heard stories of sports bettors who just bet every team to win everything, and of course, one's going to win, right? So it's like,
don't do that.
I'm not saying people should, but I've heard of those stories, and I'm just like, that's a lot of money to throw out the window,
Yeah. Just don't throw $1 on every single team to win every single bet. It's just a lot. Don't do it.
Before I let you go, on the flip side of the coin, I asked you, how do you, grade the AFC West? How do you set it up? Flip side, NFC North. Look, Packers and Vikings are the top 2 teams, but the Bears and the Lions, I don't know who's better or who's worse, because Dan Campbell's going to get a lot of people excited about the Lions this year, and they're already trying to temper expectations in Chicago. I mean, Eberflus is making it sound like they're in a rebuild in year 1.
That's not a bad strategy, right? Coming in, Eberflus with the Bears, another fan base that it's Super Bowl or bust, and I would argue that they're a little more nearsighted than Dallas fans currently in your current situation. Justin Fields, I really enjoy. I really like watching him play. I thought he should have been drafted much higher than he was when he went. You're right. The Lions are getting a lot of preseason love. I think it's because of not just, hard knocks, but what they're able to do, losing games. I mean, they were like the second or third best team to cover last year. They lost so many games by single digits or in the last second, mainly a couple to the Vikings. The Green Bay Packers, if you take a look at the betting market with them, they're still high in regular season wins. I think it's like 11.5 last time I checked. I don't know about that. I like that. That is asking a lot when you lose your alpha, like your beta, basically, on that offense, and could have easily been the alpha if not for Rodgers. That's a big miss. Allen Lazard is going to be the wide receiver 1, but he's not Devontae Adams. Trust me on that.
Right.
So I would argue that, again, the best value whenever you take a look at these teams might be the Chicago Bears, because we don't necessarily know, and they haven't lost a ton of players. But probably the best team in the North right now is the Vikings, in my opinion. They got the best one. They got probably the second best wide receiver in the NFL right now in Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook is still a top 3 or 4 running back. And like it or not, Kirk Cousins can produce games that are worthwhile if he doesn't screw it up. I know it's like a circumvented way of saying like he's good and he's bad, but I think he's better than people realize. I think just from an efficiency standpoint, I think he's a lot better than people realize. Now, does he throw away some games? Sure. But this team right now with the Vikings, I like him the most, especially when you get the old guard out and the new one in.
Over the last 7 years, Kirk Cousins is averaging 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions each year for 7 straight years. That's not bad.
Not bad. He's worth the 82 guaranteed that he got. So
exactly.
Maybe.
Before I let you go, anything you like tonight with tonight's game, on DraftKings Sportsbook, or are you saying, it's a preseason game? Because I'll tell you one thing, that 30.5 looks way too low to me.
So a lot of people, I trust me, Josh, I've talked about this ad nauseum with a lot of people and a lot of shows over the last week. 30.5 seems low for an NFL game, right? This is a preseason game, and there's one more level down. This is the Hall of Fame game. So this is preseason. 7 of the last 9 Hall of Fame games have gone under their projected total. Last year was 16-3. That was the Steelers and the Cowboys. So it's not necessarily just you take a look, and look, this is like muscle memory, right? We come back and we're like, we're used to seeing 47, 48, right? 45. And if we even get close to a 30, that's so low. You're talking about third stringers, fourth stringers, fifth stringers. I will say, though, that the Raiders, if you want to take props or if you want to take a side, I like the Raiders giving the points at 2.5, I believe, in the DK Sportsbook. You got Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, and you got Isaiah Zuber at wide receiver. You have Brandon Bolden at running back, and you have 6 Patriots on the coaching staff, former Patriots on the coaching staff with Josh McDaniels. So there's some continuity on the Raiders side. Take that if you want to take anything, and I actually like the under.
At Reid T. Fowler on Twitter for all of his NFL and PGA analysis with DraftKings Sportsbook. And he joined us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Reid, always appreciate you jumping on, indulging some of my crazy questions, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Josh, take care.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN. Always great stuff from Reid. Don't forget tonight, the Hall of Fame game, 7:30 p.m. is the coverage. You can hear it right here on 97.3 ESPN. I got a ton of text to get in on the other side. So Jay from Atlantic City, Dan and EHT, and Tom and Margate. I'll get to all your texts on the other side. 609-403-0973 is the text board, and you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
South Jersey business owners, when Eagles football returns to the airwaves this season, don't miss out. Make sure your business is a part of the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles season with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick on 97.3 ESPN. Touchdown! Every week, the NFL's most passionate fan base flocks to 97.3 ESPN Radio to listen to their favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Advertising with the Eagles can help your business connect with the consumers you are trying to reach. 97.3 ESPN is the most listened to sports source in all of South Jersey. That's what makes 97.3 ESPN such a powerful station for your business's message. So this Eagles season, don't have your business sitting on the sidelines. Be a part of the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles season on 97.3 ESPN. To be a part of the 2022 Eagles season, call Market President Mike Rubel at 609-910-5249.
Russell Peters, Act Your Age World Tour, Saturday, August 20th, 8 p.m. Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort.
Vegans are the ISIS of the vegetarian world.
Russell Peters.
No, that's your friend you're about to eat. All right, FaceTime a cow if you're such good friends. I want to see pictures of you and a chicken at a bar.
On sale now at theoceanac.com. Russell Peters, live.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. An oil change with quality oil like Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic can help your engine get more out of every mile. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze fruit on-the-go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Call Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out their best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Need an appliance? Shop the new appliance truckload event at Lowe's, going on now. From refrigerators and ranges to dishwashers and laundry pairs, we have a large selection of appliances from the brands you trust. Plus, get store-wide savings by shopping other in-stock categories. Go to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the appliance truckload event and find what you need now. While supplies last, valid through 8/17.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Come on, giddy up, get a move on.
Where are we going, Tex? Tombstone, Abilene, Dodge City?
Nope, we're headed east. We gotta get going. We still got a long ride in front of us, and I ain't gonna miss Chicken Palooza for nothing.
It's Royal Farms Chicken Palooza with great chicken box, sandwich deals, and more all summer long. Get a 2-piece world-famous box, white or dark meat, for just $6, and 10 cents of each sale will be donated to local charities. You can also get a classic, spicy, or deluxe world-famous chicken sandwich. Plus, you can register for a chance to win world-famous chicken for a year. Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Nobody wants to miss it.
Come on, you horsies. We're almost there.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends August 31st, 2022. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza-sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Can't believe this new $2 cheesy double beef burrito has all these kinds of cheese going on. Plus nacho cheese sauce. It's like they read my mind when they made this.
Nah, they couldn't have read your mind because it also comes in spicy. So they must have read my mind.
Are you really getting competitive over whose mind Taco Bell is reading?
Maybe.
Try Taco Bell's new $2 cheesy double beef burritos. Burritos with the 3-cheese blend, nacho cheese sauce, and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
Hi, Bobby.
Hey, Sarah. The usual.
This is the last time I'm coming here for coffee.
I'm on a budget now. One sec. Cold brew for Blake?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sarah, don't give up what you love. State Farm has policy options to get you a surprisingly great rate.
Good. I need my iced oat milk latte with caramel and cinnamon on top.
Girl, me too. For surprisingly great rates, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much, and after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs, you're gonna need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, one dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. 40 new Outlanders in stock now. An entire fleet of new and pre-owned. New Mitsubishis from just $17,000.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville, they service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16.4 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, wrapping up the show, we got text to get to 609-403-0973. I'm always entertained by some of these texts, especially from guys like Tom and Margate, who, for those who can't see the text board or see the DMs that come into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle, Tom from Margate is like the emoji master. He has like a gazillion emojis as part of his texts. But he says, hey, Josh, that anonymous Dallas fan must be consuming some medical marijuana or something because our Eagles are being picked to win the NFC East by a lot of people. In my opinion, the Birds are overall as good, if not better, just like you said, than the boys. By the way, my Phillies, Tom from Margate says, got Thor, and he's pitching tonight. By the way, welcome back, Globetrotter Mike Gill to the Sports Bash. That's from Tom and Margate. Yeah, listen, we say it in part tongue-in-cheek. We don't mind if people come in and are anonymous. Sometimes you don't have time to type your name into a text. Maybe you're doing voice text. You don't have time to do it. So I get those things. But when you come so hard at a show host and you do it anonymously, it is kind of silly. Dan and EHT kind of chimes in and says, here's my dream. My dream come true would be the Cowboys going 0-17. Well, sorry to tell you, Dan HT, but Cowboys are not going 0-17 this year or any year Dak Prescott's the quarterback. I think Dak Prescott is not just the best quarterback in the division. I think Dak Prescott, if he had a better situation without an imbecile for a head coach, he would probably be a top 10 quarterback easily in this league year in and year out. I think Tom McCarthy's holding him back. I think as soon as the Cowboys get rid of McCarthy, I think they'll actually be better with Dak. They got to improve the offensive line, though, in front of him. I don't like seeing Dak get smashed around. Look, Dak was one of my favorite players to watch in college. I love watching him at Mississippi State. I thought that he showed a lot of moxie and a lot of grit in his NFL career. And I think that as long as he's the Cowboys quarterback, they won't go over in any season. Now, when the day comes that he is not the quarterback, maybe it's a possibility that your dream can come true, Danny HT. Over on text board is 609-403-0973. Jay in Atlantic City chimes in. He says, Josh, with an exclamation point. Jay, what's up? He says, nice finally have game night back on. I'm glad Mike Gill is back on the Sports Bash as well, but we all miss game night. Well, Jay in Atlantic City, when you say we all, it's not including the anonymous Cowboys fan. He says, Jay in Atlantic City says, speaking of which, I can't wait for the game tonight. I know it's a nothing burger, but who cares? Football is back in all exclamation points from Jay in Atlantic City. Jay, good to hear from you. Yeah, look, I'm going to watch it. Look, the Phillies are number one, okay? I mean, you got the new acquisition on the mound. The Phillies are wearing the baby blues tonight. It's going to be a fun night. But you know I'm going to be tuning into that football game tonight. You know for sure I'll be there. All right, thanks again to Reid Fowler from DraftKings for joining the show. Always great insights from him. He said take the under 30.5 in the game tonight. We'll see if that hits or not. He said 7 of the last 9 Hall of Fame games have all gone under. Although I do think his pick of the Raiders covering the 2.5 is a little biased because he's a Raiders fan. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the football and the baseball.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
On its way, a 3-run homer for Pete Alonso.
The fight for the top of the National League East takes center stage this weekend at Citi Field when Pete Alonso and the New York Mets face Austin Riley and the Atlanta Braves.
Way back there, gone. Austin Riley goes deep.
The Mets and Braves. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.